Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the UFC 290 pre-show. This is going to be a banger of an event. If you guys missed fireworks on July 4th last night, you won't miss any come this Saturday. I guarantee it. There is 14 fights on this card, assuming no one falls out. And wow, I think there could be 10 plus finishes. This card is stacked. It's International Fight Week. UFC Hall of Fame. They always stack this card. Two championship bouts, awesome prelim. Robbie Lawler's last career fight. What a legend he is. Let's dig into some of the prelims. Man, I'm so excited for this card. I really am. The first fight I want to go over is Jesus Aguilar against Shannon Ross. Both Dana White Contender Series alum. Weird thing is Shannon Ross never won on the Contender Series. He lost in the Contender Series. He lost in his UFC debut. Yet here he is again against Jesus Aguilar, who won in the Contender Series in pretty good fashion. Struggled in his first UFC fight. This guy is a grappler. I really like what he's going to do here. He's minus 140, so that's pretty good money, and he's plus 1,000 on a third round submission. I think that is a great bet. I think he's going to get some takedowns, tire out Shannon Ross, and I think he'll finally be able to submit him. If you want to try to win some money, I think going for the third round finish at plus 1,000 is some good return on your investment. Next fight, Cameron Simon. Wow, this kid, another Dana White Contender Series alum. I feel like they're littered all over the place now at this point. 22 years old, South African, 8-0. This kid is supremely talented. I mean, he's fighting a 33-year-old who's never fought in the UFC. This could be finished really fast. I'm not surprised if Mitchell finds a way to make it out of the first round and gets finished early in the second round. Another fight I see finishing TKO. Simon's going to stay undefeated 9-0. Hopefully his next fight is a step up in competition. But again, he's only 22 years old. He's a southpaw. He lands with almost 60% accuracy. This kid is one of my favorite young and up-and-coming fighters. I think one day, maybe in the next 5 years, 4 years, this kid will be challenging for a world title. Next fight. Wow. Petrino against Pacino. This fight is another one that is going to be a banger. Pacquiao has got knocked out in a lot of his UFC fights. Petrino knocks out everybody. He's 8-0. He has six knockouts, 25 years old, fighting a 34-year-old UFC vet. Well, I think he's going to lose this one, the vet. Petrino is going to knock him out in the first round in convincing fashion. If you remember when he was on the Contender Series, he put someone to sleep. Take him minus 280 if you want to throw into a parlay, plus 135 first round knockout. That is for the early prelims. Those early prelims start at 6 p.m. on the East Coast, 3 p.m. on the West Coast. Now we're going to go to the prelims. Those are at 8 o'clock on ABC, so everyone can watch it. ABC, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Jimmy Crute, Alonzo Menifield. 2. If you don't remember, these two had a great fight not too long ago. Menifield got taken down, grabbed the fence, got a point taken away. That's how they had a draw. He was going to win the fight. He knocked Crute down twice early on. Somehow Crute survived. He grabbed the single leg, was able to survive. Both of these guys, I mean, they have really good power, really good wrestling. Crute is going to go for the takedown. Menifield is going to go for the punching finishes. I like Menifield here at plus 100. They're pretty even, minus 120 and plus 100. Menifield should have won the last fight. He should have finished him. This fight, I definitely think he will win. I'm not sure it's going to be a finish. I think this one could go the distance, but I definitely see Menifield pulling out the victory in this one. Next fight. If you don't know, now you know. Yes. Denise Gomes from Brazil, Contender Series, plus 320 against, I'm sorry, I'm not great at this girl's name, against Yasmin. And Yasmin is 10-0 from Mexico. She's an up-and-comer. Denise Gomes, 7-2 from Brazil. Wow, both of these girls are electric. They're both under 25. I definitely think both of these girls have huge futures in the UFC. Whoever loses this fight, it doesn't matter. I think both their stock is going to rise. It's going to be one of those fights. Gomes, though, the plus 320 underdog, I like the money there. And also, she has 47% of her significant strikes land, and the other girl's 41%. She also has wrestling. Denise Gomes can wrestle. I look for her to get this to the mat, make it dirty, make it sloppy, and I think she'll end up winning a close decision, maybe even a split. Um, we'll see who the judges are. That's always scary. But yeah, Denise Gomes, a close split decision victory this Saturday. The next fight, JDM, Jack Della Maddalena. Wow, this guy has been on a tear. Another Contender Series alum, 26 years old. His opponent, Sean Brady, got a staph infection in his elbow. I promise you, this was one of the top two fights I was looking forward to on the card. So I'm very upset Sean Brady got hurt. A staph infection, nothing he can do about it. People were saying stuff about him. Come on, the guy wants to fight. Let's face it. He went through the whole training camp. He wants the paycheck. Nothing he can do. They got Jack a replacement opponent, and I don't see how this fight is even close. I mean, I think the first 2 minutes, this fight is over. First of all, Jack fights at 170. They got this guy Harold coming in. He's usually a 155er. Jack's a pretty big guy. He has a 73-inch reach. Harold has a 67-inch reach. I mean, I just don't understand. I get that they wanted to keep him on the fight, but he's minus 900 for a reason. So obviously you can't take the minus 900 at all. You could sprinkle it in a parlay if you liked. But I do like a first-round knockout. The odds aren't good on that either. But if you want to go first-round knockout, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that's what's going to happen. The next fight, we'll say it's the main event of the prelims. Ruthless Robbie Lawler, Hall of Famer against Nico Price. Lawler, 41 years old, the former undisputed welterweight champion of the world. This guy has had a legendary career. Let me just name some of the guys that he's fought. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we'll just go back to 2013 because we could even go before that. Josh Koscheck, Rory McDonald, Johnny Hendricks for the belt. He lost that. Jake Ellenberger, Matt Brown, Johnny Hendricks for the belt again. He beat him in a great fight. Rory McDonald knocked him out. Carlos Condit beat him. Lost the belt to Tyron Woodley. And ever since then, it's kind of been downhill. But remember, he's 41. So even then, he was in his upper to mid 30s. And he's going to decline. Then he fought Donald Cerrone, RDA, Ben Askren, Colby Covington, Neil Magny, Nick Diaz, and Brian Barberino, which he was winning that fight until Barberino got him. I mean, this guy has fought the who's who of the welterweight division like nobody ever has. And it's sad to see him go, but he's 41. His time is up. I love Ruthless Robbie Lawler. When I started watching the UFC, this is one of the first guys I fell in love with. So I really, really am rooting big time for Robbie Lawler. Nothing against Nico Price. Nico's a very entertaining fighter as well. He's also just 2-4-1 in his last 7. Lawler is plus 210. And being plus 210, he's going to go for a knockout. What does he have to lose? It's his last career fight. We've seen Nico get clipped before. You know what? Sprinkle some money on Robbie Lawler. He's the plus 210. Who knows? By a match, he might be up more. He still has power in his hands. Robbie Lawler still has power, that southpaw power. He can knock somebody out. Robbie Lawler, last fight, Hall of Famer, legendary career. I hope he sticks around the business. I'm going Robbie Lawler just out of my heart on this one. Going to the main card, 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Wow, this card is stacked. We lost Trayshawn Gore against Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel staying on against Val Woodburn. Now, I have just read that Bo Nickel is minus 2,500, which makes him the biggest favorite all time on a UFC fight. Biggest favorite all time. Anyone else? The previous was Alexander Romanov at minus 2,300. He's minus 1,200. He's only 4-0. Let's not forget. Bo Nickel's only 4-0 as an MMA fighter. Has he been, amazing in those 4? Yes, he has. Is he an amazing wrestler? Yes, he has. But Val Woodburn trains with Chris Curtis. He trains with Sean Strickland. Well, he has. What does he have to lose? He has 5 knockouts out of his 7 victories. He is the Combat Night champion, and it's a Florida-based promotion. He's from Jamaica. He has nothing to lose. He is going to go out there and just throw his hands. Problem is, right away, he's going to overextend a punch. I can see this happening. Nickel, double leg, takedown. He'll never get back up. That's the truth about this fight. Obviously, Bo Nickel was fighting Trayshawn Gore. If you see him here in the poster here, and Trayshawn Gore is actually one of my favorite fighters to watch. I followed him when he was coming up in the Tough House, and he's got a really cool story. It's a shame he dropped out. People are saying he was scared. I don't see that being the case. Why would he go through a whole training camp, like I said before, and not want to get paid? That makes no sense to me. Even if he thought he might lose, he would take the fight. This guy lived in a car. He didn't drop out. He's been through adversity. Bo Nickel is going to win this fight very easy. It just plain and simple. He's going to get a takedown and he's going to win the fight. Unless Woodburn doesn't get taken down right away, but it's not going to happen. The next fight is a banger. These two were supposed to fight before. Jalen the Tarantula Turner, one of my favorite fighters on the roster. If I had to rank my top 10, just fun to watch, this guy would be in it. 6'3" lightweight, 77-inch reach. Usually he has a huge reach advantage over all his opponents, but he is fighting Dan Hooker. We all know Dan Hooker always comes to fight. He has a 75-inch reach, so that's not too big of an advantage for Jalen Turner. These guys are going to throw down. Jalen Turner should be on a 6-fight win streak. His last fight, he lost by split decision to Arman Charukian. I don't agree with that decision at all. Jalen Turner should have won that fight. Dan Hooker is just 2-3 in his last 5, but Dan Hooker has fought, like Robbie Lawler, the who's who of the lightweight division. So Jalen Turner better be out here and be prepared. He's fought Alana Quinta, Gilbert Burns, Jim Miller, Paul Felder, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Arnold Allen, Islam Makhachev, and he's won 18 of his 22 by stoppage. Jalen Turner, all 13 wins by stoppage. So, Jalen Turner, you can get him for around -200 to -250. I would jump on it. I love Dan Hooker. He's got a lot of fights under his belt. He's 5 years older. Jalen Turner only on his 20th pro bout. I like the Tarantula to get this done. He is very interesting in this division. If he can hold that weight down and keep making that weight, he is a problem. He's just like Sugar Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean can make that weight, and he's very tall. He has the reach. Man, if it doesn't suck the life out of him, which Jalen always looks in shape, he doesn't look small in there. I like Jalen Turner in this one. Could this next fight be the fight of the night? Robert Whitaker, former undisputed middleweight champion against DDP, Dricus du Plessis. Man, what a fight. They both want Izzy. Whitaker wants to avenge his losses to Izzy. He is 13-2 in his last 15 bouts. 2 losses to Israel Adesanya. Dricus du Plessis is coming into the UFC at 5-0 right now. He hasn't even been touched really in the UFC. He's been winning in big, dominating fashion. This fight is really, really, really hard for me to pick. I do think it goes the distance. I think if you want to bet, you bet the distance here at +130. I just don't see either of these guys knocking the other out. I think it'll be a very hard fought fight. Back and forth, fight of the night contender for sure. If I had to bet on a fight of the night, I would probably bet on that fight or the next fight. But Yeah. This really is bad. I want to see Izzy fight Duplessis because of the Africa controversy, where they're arguing back and forth if who's the real African and stuff like that. We've already seen Izzy and Whitaker twice. I do think Whitaker is one of the top 10 fighters in the world. So would I love to see those guys fight again? Yes. Um, that being said, I'm going to go with a close decision, and I am going to pick the underdog Dricus Du Plessis, DDP. I think it's going to be close. I think it could be a split. The thing is, DDP is really good at taking guys down. Robert Whitaker doesn't get taken down. We have seen his takedown defense is very strong. I think DDP will be able to take him down and just steal around based off the takedown. The fight will be close. Who knows? People might want another fight between these two after just because it's going to be so good. If Duplessis went on to win the belt, Whitaker Duplessis for a title in the future could be a very real possibility. Next fight. The flyweight title of the world is on the line. Brandon Moreno, Alexander Pantoja 2. These guys fought maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. Wow. What can I say? These two are both just going through people. We saw Moreno have 4 fights against Davison Figueiredo, and they were 4 great fights. Pantoja has been rolling. He's 33. Moreno is 29. I love Brandon Moreno. I don't think anyone can say they don't like Brandon Moreno. He is just that good of a fighter, and I think he gets the job done. Pantoja has been running his mouth a lot, and I don't see it happening. He's minus 190. Brandon Moreno will still be the undisputed flyweight champion come late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Last fight, the main event of the evening. Alexander, the Great, Volkanovski against Yair Rodriguez. Volkanovski is, in my eyes, the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. He fought Islam Makhachev, and let me tell you, that is one of my all-time favorite fights. I would love to see those two run it back. 5'6", 145, built like steel. Yair Rodriguez is a very difficult fighter. He comes from the Ultimate Fighter, and he's been pretty much going strong ever since. I know it doesn't matter if, say, Yair lost to Holloway and Volkanovski beat him 3 times. A lot of times in the UFC, that stuff doesn't matter. I think it does matter in this one. Volkanovski is just a different breed. He just is a different breed. Max Holloway got destroyed by Volkanovski last fight. Max Holloway getting destroyed? You've never said that in your life. He got destroyed by Volkanovski. Yair Rodriguez also destroyed his opponent in the last fight that he fought for the interim title. I mean, he totally took Josh Emmett out. But we just saw Josh Emmett get destroyed in his last fight. So is Josh Emmett just, 38 and he's lost a step? I'm not sure. Volkanovski is minus 400. I definitely am picking Alexander Volkanovski to win and retain. And I hope fight Makhachev again. We'll see what happens with that. But I just don't see a lot of challengers for Volkanovski. So I really hope he goes up and fights. Maybe give him 6 months, to really, really put on some muscle. Not muscle, but he's not muscular. We'll put on that weight and just really build into the 155 body. And let's see what happens maybe beginning of next year. The rematch. That would be a huge fight for sure. Assuming Makhachev is still the champ after I assume he fights in Abu Dhabi in October against we don't know who. Now, I have a prize picks 4-pick for you guys. I'm going to start doing that every week. This week's prize pick 4-pick is going to be Petrino over 99.5 fantasy points. Aguilar over 2 takedowns. Robert Whitaker fight over 11 minutes. I think it goes the distance, so I think that's a good bet. And Nico Price under 68.5 significant strikes, because I think the fight will end up ending before he gets that many, whether he knocks out Robbie or he gets knocked out. UFC 290 coming live this Saturday, T-Mobile Arena. Drop your comments. Let me know who you got. Let me know who's on your slips. We appreciate it. Make sure you give us a follow. CTA Sports Podcast. I'm out.